Hello and welcome to It's Just Business episode 4, and today we are joined by Created by Leandro.
That's it.
That's
got
the one.
it.
So, if you'd like to start by introducing yourself, what it is that you do,
Sure.
so people at home.
So, I am a videographer and a photographer. Do you want me to be looking at the camera, you, whichever way?
Whichever way.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I'm a photographer. I started off as a photographer and then I kind of transitioned over to videography over lockdown. I was kind of doing a bit of everything, kind of like a jack of all trades sort of thing. But only until recently I've kind of been able to master, but like hone myself into like the fitness bodybuilding industry. And I actually recently changed my bio to the hub of content creation for fitness businesses and professionals.
It's crisp.
Yeah, I can't actually remember what I had before that, but I was like, what's something that kind of shows that, you know, when you come to me, you don't just get video, but you get so much more than that.
Yeah.
The hub.
Yeah. Oh, I see you doing your social media support.
That's it. It's just kind of
not just video.
No, I'm just trying to add some more value. Not just be a videographer and kind of like rock up, do the video. That's it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to, you know, I provide real covers. If I'm doing a YouTube video for a client, I'll do their thumbnail. I could probably do, you know, some other extra stuff on top. But when the situation comes to that, then I'll be like, you know, I can help this out. Maybe, I don't know, a strategy for like a campaign I could be doing with someone. So I'll be like, right, you know, we're going to do this at this time, and then we'll create some hype using this sort of thing.
But the jack of all trades is master of none.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
But no, so you are the hub for, I'm paraphrasing, but for fitness professionals and
businesses
like
as well. Yeah.
Is that the area that you started off in, or?
It's sort of, yeah. It's like fitness is a big part of my life. You know, I'm training 4 to 5 times a week, cardio every morning. It's that one time in the day where I don't think about business. I just kind of, I'm present basically, and I just focus on my workout. So it's kind of helped me a lot in terms of mental health, general fitness really. Like I said before, I'm on a cut until June for a photo shoot, so I'm actually in front of the camera instead of behind it.
Nice.
For a change. And I'm like, you know, every time I'm waking up, even when I'm a bit weird, but when I'm having a shower, I just kind of like, I admire my physique, and I'm like, you know,
As you should.
like I'm looking good.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I could say I'm looking good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a testament to the hard work that you've put in.
Yeah.
So did it kind of make sense to go from something that's a big part of your life in terms of training, in terms of fitness, to then do it in terms of your work as well?
Yeah. So I think when you've got a passion for something, so like in this case, I've got a passion for fitness, then I know I can guarantee good results for when it comes to video work in the fitness industry. You know, if I was to do like a baby shoot or something, like it's not really something I'm interested in. So I could probably do a good job, but would I enjoy 2 to 6 hours of shooting and editing? Probably not.
Okay. Sorry to go on for. What about weddings?
So weddings has always been something I've been wanted to dip my feet in. I don't know why I enjoy it. It's just something about it. Yeah. I think it's more the fact that it's a hard one, to be honest.
It's a very positive occasion.
Yeah, it's a very positive occasion. I think I get a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment to know that, you know, there is a couple who have spent easily over 15 grand on a day, and they've chosen me to create something that they can watch for years to come. And I think it's that kind of sensation, that thought that I like. Yeah. That, you know, I am the reason that they can watch back on this video years to come and show it their children and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Is that a feeling that you say it's very much heightened in the kind of wedding space, but is that something, would you say that could be a kind of motive as to why you're doing it in the fitness space as well? Because from my own experience, from what you've just said, I don't necessarily think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then now that you've said it, I'm like, you know what, that's actually like quite a nice way to look at it.
Yeah.
Is that have you acknowledged that in the past in the fitness space?
In a way. So something I don't do often, which I should really be doing, is just thanking my clients that they've actually trusted me on the day to do my job properly. Not that I don't do it properly.
But for the opportunity.
But yeah, for the opportunity, like a recent client of mine, I don't know why to put names out. I could.
It's up to you. I mean,
yeah, I could. So Christian,
shout out to all my
Christian,
friends.
I've mentioned. I spoke to Christian about this, and he might be listening to this. But I had a recent inquiry come through. I won't say the person's name because it hasn't gone through yet. But I had a recent inquiry of another online coach. She's more like for females, or more focused for female online coach. And she, like, as far as I know, she's probably one of the biggest female online coaches in the country.
Damn.
And I sent a message to Christian. I was like, look, mate, I don't know whether you spoke to me about her or anything, but thank you for hiring me for your work, and also enabling me to share the platform with you. Because I've starting up, whenever I'd work with a bodybuilder or an athlete or whatnot, they wouldn't end up tagging me in the posts.
Been there.
Tiny, it's like little things like that. Like I've got to a point now where I'm numb to that. Like if I get tagged, I get tagged. Great, but if I don't, it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. But for someone like Christian, who again, I'd say top 5 online coaches in England or in the UK, for me to have the opportunity to work with him and him actually, tagging me in content that I created for him without me even having to remind him or ask him, I sent a message that I said, look, I don't know if you've got anything to do with it, but this inquiry has just come through. As far as I know, she is quite big in the bodybuilding industry, so thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform. And I actually said to him, like, I don't know if this is something that other videographers say. It's coming across a bit more, not professional, but like informal. But I just said, thank you for this. And he said, don't worry about it. I'm here to help everyone.
Those are the kind of people you want.
Yeah, that's it.
100%.
It's especially looking back when I was, coming up, I got to a point where I was very close to hating the fitness industry, because it can be the best thing ever, but it could also be the worst thing ever depending on the clients that you have. And I am fortunate. Get another shout out here. Shout out to Gus,
Nice.
who's sorting us both out here. Gus has helped me to kind of enable me to gain confidence in what I do. My prices to how I even communicate with clients, how I set a day out, and he's kind of given me the strength to put my foot down, kind of have the authority and not let the client have the authority over me. And I think that's also in the long run, it's gained me a respect across the industry. And I think as well, when you start working with more well-known people, other people who will start hiring you will have the respect, because they'll be like, he's worked with this IFBB pro or this Olympian, so he must be good at what he's doing. And then like they'll be a bit more not on the same level as you. Like they won't kind of
like almost like look down on you
in a way. So that's
I mean, touching on the topic of Gus, I mean, honestly, it's so valuable to have a coach, a mentor who's in your corner. And I experienced like not the true value of it, but I was in a situation where one of my clients in London had basically kicked up a storm, and I was panicking, I was freaking out, I was ready to kind of just like roll over and kind of just do everything I needed to do to make it right. And I remember going to London to have a conversation with him, I'm still kind of freaking out, and I'm just in the toilet, voice noting Gus like, okay, we need to do this, and he was like calming me down. And honestly, the help the help that goes beyond obviously the videography business side of things, the help with the kind of, like you said, the confidence and being able to back yourself and as a businessman and as a person is invaluable. And honestly, it's made a huge difference in just everything.
Yeah, he's like kind of locked into a good niche, because there's mentors for almost everything, but I personally haven't seen many mentors who don't over exaggerate their marketing, saying, you know, learn how to make 10K in 60 days. Like, he hasn't done that.
No.
As far as I know, I don't think any of the guys in the group are at 10K. They could probably be very near, but I mean, like, yeah, he's... A lot of people who I've spoken to still don't understand why we invest the money we invest every month with him. But it's kind of like on coaches. Like, coaches will have their own coach, and then that coach will have another coach, and kind of like almost like a chain. Because I think we're all students of life. 100%. There won't be a day where you think you know it all, because when you think you know it all, that's when you become complacent.
Absolutely.
You can't grow if you're not learning.
The speed of learning, honestly, it's the mistakes I would have made, and I remember talking to you about this earlier, and in the first group call that I had with all the other videographers, and they were talking about what they used to do and what they shouldn't be doing. In that first call, it was everything that I was doing, and I was like, "Oh God, we're in for a treat," because I hadn't known otherwise, and I would have taken the long way round and figured out, you know, months or even years later that I shouldn't be doing that, and that to hear that on the first call and be able to correct it, yeah, I mean, save so much time, stress, everything. So, we're both videographers.
Yes.
How does Leandro. How does it start? How did you become a videographer?
I started off like year 7 or 8, like just with my phone. I had like a Samson Galaxy S6, I believe. It was in gold.
Oh, jeez.
And I was just taking, you know, the most random photos with, like, you know, your cringy quotes.
Yeah, nice.
Put it on my Instagram, and I remember I used to get made fun of every now and then. And then like, and then there was some times where I'd try and just become more creative. You know, I was kind of already thinking about the rule of thirds, composition, even before knowing what those words were. And I kind of thought to myself, you know, I've got something here where I'm analysing the situation a lot more than what the average person would be. They were just like, you know, get the phone out, take a photo, cool. Yeah. But I was already like trying to be a bit more strategic about it. Yeah. But I didn't know why. So fast forward to the first month of starting my apprenticeship. The first payday I had, I bought a Nikon, or a Nikon, I call it Nikon, D3000, which is like £150 at the time.
Nice.
And that same year, I was kind of getting into like that phase where I was starting to actually worry about what I was wearing, my appearance and everything like that. So before that, I can understand why no one wanted to go out with me, because I was like an absolute gremlin.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly. And as I was starting to worry more about how I looked, you know, I wanted to be a model. Okay. Back then. I wanted to, you know, model for clothes and shit like that. So me and this guy I used to be friends with, we would literally just meet up on the weekends, get a few fits, take some photos, put it on Instagram. Nice. In hopes something would obviously come from it. But
modeling contract, here we go.
yeah, exactly. I actually did do like a portfolio day at a modeling agency. I found out in London, but it was just one of them, like, they weren't really legitimate. Like, probably about a year after, I realized like agencies don't make you pay for the portfolio, especially up front. Long story short, that modeling never came to anything really. I modeled for like one tiny brand local to me in Hereford called Ding Dong Apparel.
Nice.
I know, questionable name,
Yeah.
but that same guy, he's actually a videographer. He's the one I said
Nice.
who's done some work for Space Goods.
Yeah.
So I think it was just kind of like a little side project he was doing. So I modeled for that, but like that's as much as it went for modeling. But whenever I speak about just my business in general and that I wanted to be a model, I just say to them, you know, I eventually realized I'm more successful behind the camera than I am in front. So that's that.
And so then you took it a bit more seriously from then, or?
So I put a post up on Facebook Marketplace saying, you know, looking for any local businesses who need photography. I had no clue about business or anything like that.
Yeah.
And my first ever paid client, was a removals company.
Nice.
I remember one of the photos actually got published in like an estate agent's magazine, which was really cool. And if looking back, it's kind of like my first ever paid shoot got published into a magazine. And I got like £50 for like 5 hours of work, which worked out £10 an hour. And at the time, I was doing an apprenticeship at like £3-4 an hour. So I was like, perfect.
Yeah. But even just to be paid for some work is a huge.
It was like it was a light bulb moment. And then I was like, right, let's get a logo sorted, let's get a page sorted, see where this goes. And here we are.
Yeah. Awesome.
Here we are,
Like,
about
almost
3 years in, I think. Yeah.
You have to tell me how old you are, because I feel like you've been skirting this question for this whole.
Guess.
Oh. Okay.
Oldest I've been given is 27.
It's the beard. You've got a nice full beard.
It's the Portuguese genetics in me.
God, I'm jealous. I get pure length, but no thickness. If I had to guess, we're similar ages, so I'm gonna say. Well, I don't know if we're
It's either
similar
up or
ages. It's either up or down. I'm gonna say down. And I'm gonna say 21. Up.
Since a week ago. 22.
22.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was 22 last week.
Yeah, we're very similar.
Yeah,
ages.
but I get a lot of people when they don't know my age. I kind of just get them to guess, get a feel of what people think I am.
Classic.
They usually say like 25 and above.
It's the beard, man. It's a strong beard.
But
strong
not
beard.
just the beard. Like I've spoken to a couple of people, and they say it's just the way I hold myself, the way I speak.
Yeah.
And from, I think we're gonna get deep here.
Let's dive
This
in.
is the deep end now. But from past trauma in my life, when my dad died back in 2013, which only recently I realised it's coming up like a decade since it happened. Yeah. So he died in 2013 over a heart attack when he was playing football. The week before that, he tried to get a doctor's appointment, but they just, like they said, unless it's an emergency, we can't take you in. Ooh. Which, yeah, at the time, like if I was a lot older, I could probably, sue the place. But it's a decade ahead, and probably it's way too late now. So I think from that, I kind of became like the man of the house. Obviously, with that comes, being my younger brother's kind of big brother idol or role model, helping my mum out where I could. And I think that trauma kind of forced me to mature up quicker than everyone else in my class. And I think it kind of reciprocates in terms of how a lot of my friendship group are older than me. Whether it's got to do with the fact, I had to mature up. Yeah. So I kind of just naturally hang around with older people or something like that. But sometimes like I quite enjoy being around older people because it means I can just be honest about shit, and they're not going to take it to heart. They'll take it constructive criticism, and they won't get pissy about it.
They'll see that it's coming from whatever, whether it's a harsh reality or whatever you have to say. It's not out of like hate for them. It's just how it is.
Yeah, that's it. It's like I was saying at the restaurant, like. And I said it to one of my friends as well. Like, I said to her, I can be more. I want to be more honest, and she told me, you are honest. But I said to her, I know I am, but I can be more honest. I can be brutally honest. And I think nowadays, almost everyone is a snowflake. And like I said to you again, if I say something and someone gets offended, if I'm generally talking about someone and someone gets offended, it's because it's going to apply to them.
But they just don't want to address it, and
exactly
they see it as a personal attack. I know.
And like I said to you, like I'm kind of, because it's like I can't really just say to my friends, "Oh, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest from now on." It's just like not. There's no context to it.
Yeah.
So if any of my friends are listening to this, then I'm going to start being brutally honest and say what needs to be said, not what you want to hear from me.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Because if you can't hear it from people close to you, then you're only going to run into issues when that reality hits you in the face at some point soon. So it's better to hear it from someone that you know, that you trust, rather than be hit with a harsh reality further down the line.
Yeah. And it stems from, again, like I said to you, from Gus, like whenever like I've come into a situation, he's helped me. He doesn't sugarcoat shit. He'll say it how it is, how I need to do it. Same with a very good friend of mine who is basically like a fucking dating guru to me.
Nice.
Well, like a guru when it comes to like dealing with women or something like that. Because,
he's the person you go to. Right?
Yeah, he's the person I go to whenever, I don't know, I've got like dating problems or I don't know how to speak to a girl or some shit like that.
I know.
Because like before the recent breakup, so in between my first relationship and the one I've just broken up with, I had like 3 months of just being single during lockdown. So even I don't count that as a single stage. Like there was nothing going on in the world. So this year's kind of like the first year where I kind of can gain experience in the dating world.
Yeah, I get you.
And also it's kind of like where I'm trying to find myself and who I am, who's the type of person I want to be.
Did you find those 3 months were quite nice to kind of just zone in on yourself, or was it quite a tough 3 months?
Neither, to be honest. It was really a blur. I was definitely a simp within those 3 months. And looking back, I was scared of being alone. I didn't have much going on for me. And
again, very normal stuff to feel though.
Yeah, it is very normal stuff to feel. But this year, I've kind of like understood myself a bit better. I'm not so much of a simp anymore. Probably, like, that I could be a simp at times.
I'll admit it.
I'll admit it. But now that I've established myself, my business is more established. I'm making a word for myself. I'm busy. It's getting to a point, I even said it to myself and I said it to friends, this year I'm putting everything into the business. So
that's super exciting, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's very exciting. So I think like even just that, like my mind is thinking about work rather than like thinking about girls and then work. It's like the other way around.
Yeah.
And then the gym as well. Like all I think about is work in the gym at the moment.
I'm excited to see what like more capacity could mean for you, because from an outsider's perspective looking in, you're kind of crushing it, man. You're killing it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm excited to, if from what you're touching on, it doesn't seem that you've been at full capacity, as in terms of what you're putting into the business, and for you to say that I'm going all in on the business.
Yeah.
That's exciting, because that is very exciting.
Yeah. So touching on that, like the past, since I came back from holiday, I'm going to mention this because I'll be fine with it. So I went to Amsterdam on holiday.
Nice.
Did the usual stuff you do in Amsterdam.
Yeah, of course.
I did.
When in Dam.
Exactly. And I did mushrooms as well, which was a really cool experience.
Very cool.
I've always been into kind of like just psychology, learning about body language, how people react with, whatnot. And since then, when I got back, I feel like my mindset just changed, and I am just tunnel vision on working in the gym. That's all I want to be doing. And I've been speaking to a few people about it, saying how what I want to be doing now is just do solid work for 2, maybe 3 months in one go, and then I'll have a break for a week. But it's hard when I've got friends, they're just looking out for me at the end of the day. They'll just be like, just switch off the day. But I don't want, because I've got nothing, like my brain's bored otherwise. Yeah. Like I'd rather do 2-3 months solid work and then have a holiday, knowing that I put my all the past 2 or 3 months. Like I went on holiday to Amsterdam, didn't take anything, laptop or camera with me, switched off, cool. Going to Portugal this weekend till Wednesday. That's going to be a working holiday, so I'll probably like switch off for 2 hours maybe. Yeah. Go to the beach.
Taking camera with you and.
I'm taking my camera and my laptop as well, because I've got a bit of a backlog mounting up, so I need to get that done. But after that, it's like it's gas, foot to the gas for until whenever really, because if someone ever asked me, where do I feel the happiest? I'd say working. Yeah. That's where I feel the happiest. Yeah. That's where I feel like that's my calling and my duty in life, is to not to work, but to provide a service.
And I think it's very different as well, because a lot of people aren't freelance. A lot of people don't necessarily work for themselves, and so where a lot of people switch off after work at, whether it's 5 p.m. or whatever it is, I'd like to say for us, your brain doesn't switch off, but that's okay. We love that, and we almost don't want to switch off, because we know we have an idea of where we see ourselves, and the more that we can put into it, it's not necessarily about speed, but the closer we get to that vision.
Yeah, it's it was a conversation I had with a couple who I'm doing their wedding for. We got into a deep chat all of a sudden. I wasn't even expecting it, because with clients I don't really go deep, and with someone else who I've spoken to, I said to them, I do put a lot of pressure on myself, I know that, but it's because I want I've got such big goals I want to achieve. I'm willing to risk my mental health for it, because it, from an outside point of view, it could be a very toxic mindset. But people will say, I want to buy my parents a house, this and that. Yeah, that's it's a good mindset to have, but how willing are you actually wants to put that work in? Are you just saying it because it's kind of like mental masturbation to make you feel good, to kind of make you push? But how much are you willing to sacrifice and risk to actually make that happen? And I'm prepared. Last year, when I was not making much, not getting many bookings, my friend suggested me saying to get a part-time job. I ended up getting one, but my mindset then, and still is till now, I said to him, look, I'd rather go homeless than get a part-time job. Last time I was employed was in October. I left a nightclub that I was doing social media marketing for.
Nice.
And ever since then, I said to myself, I'm going to do everything I can to stay self-employed and make this work. Yeah. And then some time period after, I heard this quote on TikTok called "Burn the Boats," And if you don't know if no one knows what that is, it's basically, I think it comes from either pirates or Vikings, where if they wanted to conquer an island, they would burn their boats. So the only option was to win. And that's the mindset I've got at the moment. Like, my only option is to make this work. There is no room for failure. Whether it means, sacrificing going out. Like, I went out 2 weekends, but like, I didn't drink. I just had a Coke. Because I knew like I could wake up next day fresh, get back to it. Like, I try and have some sort of balance, but ideally, like, I'd be happy to just not do any social gatherings, or anything like that, which sounds a bit selfish, but again, when you've got goals that you really want to achieve, you're willing to put everything into it. And it's kind of like bodybuilders when they're prepping. Those 16 weeks is just like gritty. Like, they're not doing anything besides waking up, meal prepping, training, cardio. That's all they do. I want to be doing that, but for the business.
It's interesting because it seems quite an isolating path, but then when you can find people who understand that and who want to support you in that path, it's really refreshing. So, for example, I've got a close friend who's in the Marines, and we don't see each other for quite spells of time. Sometimes, we try to text, but we both get busy. As sometimes you're just locking in. You don't want any distractions, like you were saying. You're kind of just focused in on the goal. But then having that person to kind of reconnect to, and it's almost like nothing changed. I can say from my own experience that it's so great to have, because we can tell each other about what we're grinding towards, and we both know that we're on that path. And it's do you have anyone like that in your life at the moment? Because you're saying that all this isolating path stuff, and I fully understand that. But then I would agree that it's somewhat a little bit of a toxic mindset, but you understand that as well. But then if you can find people to kind of support you in that journey, then I definitely do have many people, or like a good group of people who understand it. But it's kind of like I sent a message to her. She was actually a client first, and then we just kind of grew pretty close, and like, she's just a friend to me now. And I just sent her a message saying, thank you for being able to understand like the amount of graft and everything I need to put in, because she's never really like said anything otherwise. She's never said, you need to stop or just have a break. Like, she's never said anything. Like, she's always supporting me. And I'm not saying all my friends who I've got, they all support me, but then there's a few of them who kind of like, live your life a bit, which again, got nothing against. They're just looking out for me, which I'm more than grateful for. But like I said to the couple, I'm willing to give up my 20s to build my future. I'm willing to put in the graft for like, a couple of years, and then like, I don't know, 28, 29, 30, I might not need to ever work again in my life. But I know probably by the time I get there, you've given it.
I've given it all, but now I've got something even bigger to take care of. So I probably won't even be able to switch off. I'll have, let's say, some agency, a creative agency or something massive, where I'm sucked into again. But then, that's when I'm still working at like 30, but
it will be supporting you at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. And I'll have a team of people, because I don't know if you know Iman Gadji.
I do.
You do, yes.
Yeah. Of course I do.
No, I was watching a video about him yesterday, and he was saying how running a business is a lonely road, very lonely road. But I'm hoping by the time I'm 30, I've got a team behind me. The plan is to create a creative agency out of this, which is kind of where the hub of content creation kind of stems from, because that's like my end goal. I want to kind of be, the hub for everything. Like, you know, whether you're an online coach or you work in some other industry, you come to me, we basically got you sorted for coverage, marketing, anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's the big goal, really.
Yeah.
So I've just said everyone my big goal.
Nice.
There is another big goal.
Make
but
it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah, that's it.
Come
Speak
on.
into existence.
Exactly.
All that manifestation.
If you have the confidence. Sorry, I was going to do a Conor McGregor impression, but that's awesome. And I feel like we do have somewhat very similar goals.
Yeah.
My question is a bit of just a tangent while I'm there. Have you ever thought about movies?
Movies?
Yeah.
As in going into movies?
Just like making a movie? Just a random question, because it's something that
kind of
popped into my mind.
Like earlier when I first started having like an interest into video, I thought about it, but it just doesn't give me the buzz.
That's fair.
I feel like you're kind of restricted in what you can do. Whereas when it comes to what I'm doing, like promo videos or anything like that, I don't exactly need to tell a story. Yeah. I just need to show off the business.
Yeah, and get to be a bit more like
I've got more freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm all about freedom.
Okay, that was just a little side question for myself, but have you heard of Blood Brothers Media?
Blood Brothers Media.
Because they are a big inspiration to myself.
Okay.
They're brothers that came over. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm gonna butcher the story. But they're brothers that came over from somewhere.
Play it safe.
But I know their like Instagram handles, and I've been following their journey, and it's awesome. And they came over from somewhere, and they did the media for like Wicked and Bad, which is like Little Man's like boxing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they've basically gone from there and just been growing and growing ever since. And they're now the media team behind Kingpin Boxing, which is the creator scene. And they've just opened up a studio in
somewhere.
It's north. I remember seeing the story because they were like, oh, there's so many studios in London. Nottingham. In Nottingham. And man, does it look cool. And I'm just like, for me to be able to see that and to see that they've done it, I'm like, all right.
It motivates you.
100%.
Yeah.
Even you motivate me, because like, honestly, you do. Like, because I would still class myself as relatively new to this, and being in a community with more creatives and seeing what's possible, hugely motivating.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. And so,
as long as you put the work in and set your mind to it. During lockdown, there's this guy called Jack. He goes by Jack Samson Club. There's like Amazon FBA and stuff, and he's like our age, like drives like a Ferrari or something. And his quote was, "Stay loyal to your goals, and your goals will stay loyal to you." And it just kind of comes like I was saying, like, you know, anything's possible as long as you set your mind to it and you work towards it. Anything in the videography industry is possible, really. But like you say, I'm an inspiration, or I motivate you. It's like, for a 22-year-old kid, I guess you could say, it's hard for me to accept that, especially when I've got someone I know who's like 30, and like I'm helping her out in like bits about, you know, how starting up a photography business. Nowhere near what Gus does. Like, I'm just kind of like, it's almost like just like a friend helping a friend, really. But like, even when she was asking me questions and stuff, it kind of like, you get the imposter syndrome, and you're like, you know, why me? And especially in the 3 years, you know, I've had like guys who are like, you know, 18, 19, 20, just, you know, following me and saying they enjoy my work, and then like we'll have a chat, they'll have questions, I'll help them out, and it's just kind of like, you know, when do I consider myself a professional? And I think that would be when you actually start earning money from it.
Damn.
Which probably seems a bit too soon, because like, you know, I'm technically a professional from the time I got my first shoot, which was £50.
Yeah. Someone's put that trust in you.
Yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, I don't really know when you should consider yourself a professional. I'd probably consider myself a professional now, just because of the amount of responsibility I take, the way I kind of communicate with clients, the way I hold myself, the way I market, everything like that. But I wouldn't like put it on my bio or anything like professional photographer. It's just kind of like, it makes you bit full of yourself in a way.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I probably do come across full of myself at times, but I think it's,
you need a little bit of it.
Yeah, so I mean, having an ego is good if you use it right. I'd say I've got a bit of an ego. People listening to this will probably think, not a bit, but like he's got a massive ego. But if I've got a massive ego, even better then.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I know I'm good at what I'm doing. I know that I deliver good results. Clients are happy. You know, there's been like the odd few times where there's been a few hiccups, but we got around it. And it's known that I'm good. Again, going back to what I said, it's known that I'm good at what I do. That I'm gonna say it here because it's the right time for me to say it. But I said it to a few of my clients. I said to them, like, as egotistical as it sounds, I consider myself the best fitness videographer in my town. Drop that.
Oh,
get a sound effect.
But you need that though. You need that.
It's definitely going to rattle. I know exactly who it's going to rattle the feathers.
Is there, oh,
I know exactly who it is going to be. So if you are listening to this,
Whoa.
it's going to be a split of people. A lot of them are going to cheer on for me. They'll be like, yeah, I know who's on about. But the others are going to be like, they're going to be like, mate, he's just spoken about you. So yeah, like that like starting up, that was my goal, was to become the best in my town at what I do. And I think now I'm getting to a point where I can very happily say I am the best in the town of what I do.
Nice.
The next step is to
Just expand
become the best, like within surrounding areas, which will be a lot harder, because you know that there are loads of videographers that I follow who are good at what they do. But when I say I want to be the best, it's not in a way like, you know, you're shit.
Yeah.
Like it's
I'm willing to put in the work.
I'm willing to put
to be the best.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they're not willing to put the work. Like there was I'm referencing so much from TikTok, but it's just like little clips I see. There was a guy saying how, you know, I have got the best life ever, but that doesn't mean you don't. It's just what I think about my own life. Like, you know, I'm lucky to be living the life I'm living. I'm lucky to be in the position I am at 22, working for myself, having, you know, location freedom, being able to work my own hours, being able to do what I want, basically. And it's something my most recent ex actually helped me kind of realize. There was at a point, can't remember what it was about, and she kind of spoke to me. She said, "Do you realize what you've achieved at 21?" And that kind of like set me back a bit, and I was like, "Yeah, that's true." So it's definitely something I struggle with, is looking back at what I've achieved. I managed to do that on the train today when I spoke to you.
Nice. A little music video moment.
Yeah, a little music video moment. I think it was also yesterday or the day before. I just put on Drake. I like, it hit different to what it usually did.
Yeah.
I leaned the chair back and I was just appreciating the song, and I just kind of like smiled to myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the dream life I'm living.
Hell yeah.
And I just kind of spoke to myself and said, you're fucking lucky. No, you're not lucky. You fucking worked for this shit. And even though I'm happy where I am, I've got the saying of, it's like the Alpha Elite saying, proud but never satisfied. Like, I'm proud of what I've created, what I've done, where I'm at, but I'm not satisfied as to where I am, but where I could be.
Yeah.
I've got this habit of always chasing the next shiny thing.
Yeah.
For example, like, let's say my goal is to hit 5k a month. When I hit that, right, let's go for 10k a month, and I'll just carry on like that. Yeah. So it's kind of like a lifelong journey. I'll be going through.
It's a pretty, how would I describe it? It's a pretty ruthless mindset.
Yeah.
That you have.
I spoke to a friend, another close, my coach actually, and I don't know whether it's the fact that, you know, I'm going to church once a week, on like Sunday mass. Like, I'm not a massively religious person. I'm more spiritual. And I was speaking to a girl about this. Like, she was saying she's been having an awakening, and I said, look, I know exactly what you mean, because I've been feeling an awakening myself. I feel like, you know, how I envision this year is slowly becoming a reality, and like, the fire I've got in me, it's not just a normal fire, it's like a violently roaring fire. That's like, you know, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Feed me with work, otherwise you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that kind of ruthless mindset that you said kind of stems from, is the fact that I've had this awakening. I'm seeing things in a different light. You know, I don't enjoy going out. Like, it might seem like I'm putting myself on a pedestal, but when I last went out, I was looking around and I'm like, I felt really out of place. I felt I felt upset, because I was like, this is not the life I want to be living. Like, I've got nothing. Like, it was my birthday weekend, so I could have drank, but I chose not to because I didn't want to. I don't get fulfillment from drinking. Like, yes, it's good in the moment, but it's expensive. It's money. Like, I'd rather spend £50 on fucking, I don't know, clothes or equipment for my camera than if you don't know what he's doing that. Yeah. I should be doing that more often. Sorry. Yeah, £50 on like camera equipment. I don't want to be using it on drinks, because I just feel shit the next day.
It is honestly about the next day, because I hate waking up and just not being in the mood to do what I know needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because it sucks. It just makes it so much more difficult. But I also like a drink, though. I've been kind of around it my whole life, but I like a drink, but there's too many people that just don't
know the limit.
Yeah, it's not so much that, it's just they can't. It's not so much that, it's they struggle to read the room, and so when it's just a quiet one, it's just a quiet one, but they want to take it to the next level. I'm all for, you know, getting silly when the time is right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing, is like, if it's, you know, whether you're celebrating a big achievement or it's someone's birthday that you haven't seen in ages, then there's a time for it. But then if it's like a random Tuesday night, or it's a random weekend, and you've got then there is no point. So
well, again, I do understand it.
I'd rather save the money, feeling better in the morning, and then be able to crack on the next day.
A lot of people that do that weekend on weekend are just wanting to escape reality. It's impossible to have. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is possible, but it's impossible to have something to celebrate that's worth celebrating every week.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people in my town are doing it. Like, when they say, oh, you know, I just enjoy coming out for drinks. Like, why though? Like, why do you want to get to that state?
Yeah. Because you don't even remember it.
No, exactly. Like, so you're clearly trying to, you know, forget your own reality.
Yeah.
And again, I hope like a lot of people from Hereford read that, like, listen to this and get annoyed, because it's what they need to hear.
100%.
I don't care if I become quite a hated person, it doesn't bother me because
I mean, you're the best videographer in Hereford.
I'm the best videographer. Exactly. You said it, not me.
Exactly.
That was good timing there. That was good timing. Let's put it into a sense. I don't care if everyone hates me because I'm the best videographer in Hereford. However, going back to what I said, it doesn't mean like the people around me are shit. Like they're all good in their kind of sector.
Of course.
I'm good in my sector.
Yeah.
But it's more of that's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in because my results show. The guy who did Space Goods, like I'd say he's probably one of the best as well, if not the best in Hereford when it comes to his kind of approach to video. He's a lot more creative than me. But there you go, like he's the best more for types of like commercials, corporate videos. I'm more into like the fitness kind of videos. Another friend could be good with weddings. So like, if I say I'm the best in Hereford, we could all be the best in Hereford.
Yeah. We could be the best together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there are some people who don't deserve that placement.
Interesting.
Love to know who that is. People will know who they are.
I'd love to know who that is. Oh God. Beef. Is there beef? Is it?
No, not beef. Okay. I think it's
just
like
competition.
A bit of competition.
Yeah,
Don't know if it's healthy competition or if it's just like, don't know. Maybe it's just one of them like non-existent beefs that you kind of create yourself.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, when you compare work, like you can see good work and then you can see bad work.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll see bad work from a certain person, and then I'll see good work from them. I'll be like, okay, this is actually good work. The rest is just a pile of shit. Yeah. To put it brutally, again, like Gus will probably listen to this and he'll be like, mate, drop your ego. Yeah.
You touched on earlier about the creative agency being the hub for all things fitness. Have you ever thought about other spaces? Have you
in terms of the agency?
In terms of the agency?
Yeah.
In the future?
Well, not
looking ahead.
I've thought of just the agency in general. I haven't thought about what sort of areas we'd cover.
Nice.
However, it would be good to cover quite a lot of areas. Yeah. But have like a dedicated team for each one, so it's not the case of a jack of all trades but a master of none. It's like we actually have masters for basically a lot of industries. We'll have ones for the fitness industry, corporate, commercial, events. Because I wouldn't want my business to be very corporate. I'd want it to be very laid back, kind of like what a lot of startup businesses are like. They're like very laid back. Yeah. I'd probably, again, this is like very early stages, or I wouldn't even call it early stages, but I'd probably like subcontract a lot of the work to like videographers and shit. But have an actual dedicated team that work for me, or not work for me, but work with me. Team. Yeah, like a leadership team, and I'd want to work with them, not them work for me. Because I know what the corporate world is like. They treat you like numbers, treat you like not shit, but like they don't treat you as best you can be treated. I'd want people to wake up every day and like have the feeling I have now, where I can't wait to do work. Yeah, I want we might have an office, a dedicated space, but like if they prefer working from home, so be it. As long as the job's done, of course. Yeah. I'd probably, again, very early stages, but I'd want it to be like, the best job ever for them, where, we'll do like a team day out like every month or something like that, and like just really take care of them, because it's the way I'd want to be treated if I was working for someone.
It's also nice to have to kind of nurture those people around you.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same sort of approach E-Man has with his team, like, taking them out on holidays to like these exotic places, going on private jets. Yeah. Like that's the life I want to have and to provide to people close to me, my family. Like I was saying to someone, I can't remember who it was, but like I was saying, again, I think it was my coach actually. I was saying like, I want to get to a point where I can take all my friends on holiday. They don't have to worry about anything because I've sorted it all for them. That'd be cool. And I want not to show off, but I think that's what will like when I get to the point where, you know, I'm making multiple figures a month. I think the only thing that will fulfill me is helping other people. It won't be like the generic thing that every millionaire says. Like, it's not the flashy cars and stuff. It will be helping other people, and kind of inspiring them to show what is possible with hard work and when you set your mind to something. And just in general, just support people. I know, like, yeah,
it's rewarding.
Yeah, it's rewarding. Like, I haven't got to the point yet, but when I'm, I don't know, hitting a certain figure a month, I'd like to start giving back more to people, where I can.
Yeah. Ooh, so my next question, it's very clear from the conversation we've had that you have a goal and you're getting after it. You're a freelancer right now, but would you ever go work for someone else's agency?
So that's a good question. I haven't worked for an agent. Have I worked for an? Kind of, not in a way. There is an agency that works with a lot of events, nightclubs and stuff, and they kind of subcontract work to photographers and videographers.
Nice.
So I've kind of worked for an agency in a way, but in terms of creativity, like they've given the freedom. Like they'll just say, right, we want 15-second clip of this.
This is what we need.
This is what we need. But like the creative side, like all down to you. If I was to be employed, I don't think it would be quite my thing. I'd set expectations, but said, like, you know, I can work for you for this price, but this is how much I'm actually working.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do 25 hours a week for you. I could probably do this in less, and you can still pay me the same amount, but I can do it less time and create more efficient work for you. So I'm not actually owned by them in a way. So instead of them like paying me as an employee, they just pay me as a subcontractor or something. So I still got my own freedom.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was asked that question yesterday, and it was a stumper. I was like, oh god. And the answer that I came to was I wouldn't close it down.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying working for myself. I'm enjoying, you know, pursuing something that's personal to me. But if there was an opportunity to almost use it as like a learning experience, then I would be open to it, because even just from getting a mentor like Gus, I've learned so much. And then if I was to even surround myself with people who are doing something similar and I can learn from them, then I wouldn't shut down that opportunity.
Yeah, I'd be open to the opportunity if it was the fact that I needed to relocate somewhere and to basically establish myself in that new area.
Nice.
Because obviously, you know, if you're a freelancer and you're moving to some other place, it would be hard to build a client base.
Yeah.
So, even if it was like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, ideally the aim would be to make a name for myself, so that no matter where I move to, my work doesn't fall. But if there was like an agency who know who I am, I know the guys, and they're like, you know, we got a role here. If you're interested, I'd be like, yeah, cool. Work there for a couple of months, make a name for myself, and then I'll go back to self-employed. Or I'll just stay self-employed and just say, yeah, you know, just subcontract me. Yeah. But then working with their clients will then make a name for myself, and then do that.
So you're obviously, you know, like you said, the best videographer in Hereford. And eventually it's going to expand to the surrounding area, and then
nationwide.
Exactly. But is there any dream countries, dream places that you want to?
I've always
not
wanted
necessarily
to
build a base, but where you want to work.
I've always wanted to record or have a work that would be in America, just because the fitness industry is like, you know, 100 times bigger than the UK.
Yeah.
And the UK one's already big enough. But I think, yeah.
Any particular? I mean, it's a pretty big place.
Yeah.
Any particular that comes to mind?
In terms of
in America, like
a state?
Yeah.
No, not really. It doesn't really bother me too much. As long as it's warm and sunny,
Yeah, fair.
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Like, nowhere in particular. But no, I've always wanted to have work abroad.
Have you done much work abroad?
Not
We'll build into that.
Not officially.
Okay.
But by the books, yes, I have.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Don't know if HMRC would be listening to this.
HMRC, go away. But and then the kind of one that follows on from that question: is there any like dream clients or dream projects, dream brands that you'd want to work with?
Dream. I've written down 2 people I really want to work with this year.
This year, nice.
This year,
time frame.
yeah.
Smart.
2 people I've kind of looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
One in the fitness industry. One kind of like within modeling in itself. Like he's a guy who, since I wanted to be a model, I've always thought, he's just got like a look that suits anything.
Yeah.
But that's as far as it goes.
Oh.
I don't like revealing my goals.
Okay, that's
especially
fair.
like my New Year's resolutions.
Man, such a tease.
And I won't tell you after this.
God damn. Oh well, there goes my next question.
What was the next question? Oh, who are they? No.
Okay. Oh, not even a hint.
So one of them has his own brand, and then the other one owns a barbershop in Spain.
Okay. Oh, I mean, fuck no.
That's the most vague I'll go.
Yeah, you could have said anything. I'd be like,
one's in the fitness industry, the other one's in the modeling industry. There we go.
Okay. Why don't you like to see your goals?
Because it depends on how big the goal is.
Okay. Nice.
Will then come a lot of added pressure.
Because we've touched on some of your goals.
Yeah.
In this conversation,
Yeah.
So.
But it's almost like I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like for example, I've got a certain figure I want to be able to hit 3 months in a row.
Nice.
But that figure is extremely big that I don't want to tell anyone. I just want to keep it to myself.
Yeah. Work in silence.
Huh?
Work in silence.
Yeah.
Just kind of
let the success be your noise.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's like even I'm like, is this even possible for me to make as a videographer? But like, there's a couple of creatives I follow who, they used to be based in the UK. They're now they now live in Dubai. They got a nice apartment. They got a nice car. One videographer I follow is called Elliot something. Like, he used to be based in the UK, and like he probably is financing it, because I'd finance a car. But like, he was daily driving an Audi R8, and I'm like, wait, I can make that amount of money as a videographer? Because like, imagine being a videographer or even a photographer, rocking up to a client in an R8 and saying, yeah, that is my car. Like,
one day.
Yeah, exactly.
Day one.
One day or day one.
So you must have days where you're kind of not motivated. You're not.
I don't use the word motivated anymore. It's just discipline now.
Just discipline.
Yeah.
But realistically, how is your discipline?
I'd say it's pretty good.
Okay. On those days that it's not pretty good,
then my work rate isn't as efficient.
Okay.
But I still show up.
Okay, nice.
But
what would you say, kind of like, I know you don't use the word motivated, but
what drives
helps?
me?
Yeah, we've kind of touched on what drives you, but like, I don't know how I'm going to put this.
Okay, we'll just use what motivates me.
Yeah. You taking away the word motivated was hard. It's like,
what motivates me?
Because I feel like we've touched on the kind of, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a deep rooted motivation, but like
what Okay.
So you mentioned seeing some creators that showing you that it is possible, but is there? I mean, like, let's say on a day-to-day level, do you listen to other podcasts? Do you?
Sometimes I've got phases where I do. Recently, I've been trying to kind of implement more the whole David Goggins mindset. Like, the days where you're in cozy in your bed, it's warm, but you need to go out for a run or a cold dip. When you don't want to do something really badly, that's when you need to do it. Yeah. And that's what kind of, like, this week there's been a couple of days where, I've been like on little sleep, like not stupid little sleep, but like there's been days where I'm like going to bed at like 11:30, 12, and I'm like, I need to be up in 5 hours, or I need to be up in 6 hours. I really don't want that. Yeah. But I will wake up because I got things to do. I got a goal to aim towards. It's also like the long-term goal is to have financial and location freedom, to be able to work where I want, when I want, and still, be earning the same amount. Because I want to be able to travel a bit more, and especially at the moment, I'm kind of limited because I've got to be with the person or on site to shoot. But like this week, or the past couple of weeks, I've gained a bit of a backlog of work. But considering I'm going to Portugal, I can just edit over there. Yeah. Ideally, I'd want everything to be done on my laptop. Hence why like the agency kind of comes in, because I'd probably get to a point where I'm just kind of managing like the big projects or something like that, and like all the film would be done by someone else.
You're 22. Yep. What's been the biggest lesson from your time in business? Because I know we touched on the imposter syndrome bit, that we're still quite young in this game, but there's still like a wealth of knowledge that you've acquired from everything that you've done. So has there been a kind of, I know we love quotes as well, but has there been like a standout lesson from all this that kind of you take away? And so if someone was listening to this now and they're looking at Created by Leandro and they're like, yeah, I could do this, what would be, not necessarily
what would I tell them?
But yeah, what would, from your experience, what advice would you give to them?
To just keep going. Was it last year? I believe it was last year. Yeah. So early 2022, end of 2021 was like the shittest time I had. Seeing other videographers like being fully booked at like the beginning of the month, or beginning of the year, which is usually like the quietest time. And I was just there kind of like empty-handed, just about getting by. Again, this isn't this sob story either. I still woke up every day and I did work. I worked towards the business, whether it was, whether I was given 100%, whether I was given 50, 1%, I still showed up. And basically my life turned around in March when I took my first retainer, for 4 figures a month. He knows who he is because I've spoken to him before, and I just sent him a message saying it's actually going to be 1 year since we've been working together next month.
Congrats.
And like since I started working with him, like just like everything's changed and it's just gone up. So don't give up, keep going. Even if you can't put 100%, put 1% at the very least, because it's gonna, you've got the compound effect. It will all build up at the end of the year. And the days when you don't want to do it are the days that will count. It's kind of like, when you're at the gym, like when you think you've got the last rep, you're only like 80% there. Like you've got so much more in you. It's all a mental game.
So the 30% rule, is it? Have you heard that?
No.
It's the rule they use in the Marines. When you're like fully spent, fully don't think you can do anymore. Apparently, you're only at 30% of your capacity.
Wow, it's quite
Which is
quite
crazy.
little.
Yeah. So you're like,
But
oh,
it
God.
shows you like what the mind is capable of.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, when I said about, I don't know if I said it, I must have said about 2-3 months working non-stop. Maybe. But I think that's kind of like, you know.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I took up that. Yeah, you did.
I think it's like, so the 30% rule, it's a good testament to show what the mind's capable of doing, and like you need to push yourself. Like if you like, with massive goals comes massive amounts of work and sacrifice, and you know people would be like, yeah, but you're going to be burnt out in 2 months' time. What? Like I put up a TikTok about Andrew Tate talking about burnout. It's like, you know, you're not a car. You don't do burnouts.
Yeah.
Like work. Like the days you don't want to do it are the days going to count. You know, like there is, like I said before, like I'm willing to risk my mental health because that's how much I want to achieve this goal or these goals, which, you know, to a lot of people listening, they'll probably think I'm sounding pretty stupid, pretty pathetic, and they'll probably be feeling like you just said that for the podcast, but no, not really, not at all. I want to be able to hit what I've got, and I feel like I've got a bigger drive. With the cards I was dealt throughout life, has enabled me to have a drive that not many other people in my circle have, and only a small minority of them actually understand it. But it doesn't make all the others any less worth any less. Like my circle is very carefully picked, and you know, I won't forget about them, because like when I've made it, then I'm gonna give back to everyone as a form of, you know, thank you for always believing me and always sticking by. It's kind of like, when I don't think I'm in the trenches yet, but like when I'm really in the trenches, where, you know, I've basically isolated myself from society because I'm just deep in work and the gym. The true friends are the ones who will always stay no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
And you know, those ones are the ones who will be rewarded for, you know, as a thank you, saying like, look, I appreciate you still being around, even though I went ghost for like, don't know, a couple of weeks to a month or something like that.
They understand the assignment.
I said there's been times where I've just thought about deleting, like muting all my contacts, deleting social media, besides just having my business page, deleting, like actually like erasing my Snapchat account, deleting my WhatsApp, or like just like deleting all like my contacts, and just having clients just so all I think about is work. Which again, toxic mindset, yes I know, but it's what I want to be doing, it's what I feel happiest doing, so I'm doing this for myself, not for anyone else.
And the real ones will still be there, and that's the thing. Yeah, I feel like when you start pursuing something meaningful, you lose a contact with a lot of people, but at the same time, those that do stick around, those that do reach out, check in on you, you start to realize, yeah, you know.
I got a friend of mine who we probably only speak like once every month and a half. You know, he's got his own work, he's got his own job. I've got the business, but
do you have a nice little catch up?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we'll literally pick off as if we were talking to each other the day before.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like, I value all the friends I've got, but I think sometimes it's best if I just isolate myself for a bit, because when I interact with them again, I value the time I have with them a lot more. Yeah. I you know, if I'm you know, I've got one or two friends who I see like once or twice a week, I still value the time, because, you know, there is never a time I don't go without laughing with them. But I think like if I was to not see them for a month, and then I saw them again just after a month, we'd value the time that we're with each other. And I think it's hard when like your other friends are also self-employed, because they're also like deep in the cave as well. So like sometimes we don't actually appreciate the time that we have together, because like we're just in that work mode.
Yeah.
So if we don't see each other, and then all of a sudden we do, like after like a couple of weeks, we're actually present. Like I was with my friend when he took me out for dinner for my birthday. Like I barely went on my phone. I'll go on my phone like when I'm with a friend just to check what's going on, but we had like a proper deep chat. He's my coach, like, and sometimes like I won't see him for like 3 weeks, maybe even a month, and then I'll see him training his clients, and I'm like, like my face just lights up, 'cause like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in ages.
It's almost like a little nod, just
we're
still going.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna start to round off this podcast. It's been a awesome one, and may I say, it's nice. I feel like we've got some similar energies.
Yeah.
And
it's been pretty easy to kind of interact with you.
Absolutely, man.
Hasn't been awkward or anything.
No, and I feel like we're very young in this game. We still got lots of learning to do, but I think with our mindsets, we're gonna figure it out the whole way there. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see you at full capacity, because I feel like some of the things that we've touched on in this conversation, I feel like we're just scratching the surface in terms of what you want to achieve, in terms of what you have achieved.
Yeah. So talking about full capacity, actually.
Oh.
I put up a story on my personal page. It was just kind of like one of them spur of the moment thoughts that I had, and I was like, I feel like it's the right time to put it up, but I'll just read it because it's kind of like comes across that. So basically it says, a chaotic 2 days of inquiries and back and forth messaging with some really exciting jobs in the pipeline, en route to Oxford for something I've always wanted to be involved in, which is the podcast. Days go by in a flash with fitting in cardio, training, work and life admin. Even when I'm waking up at 5:30 to 5:45 every day, I still feel like I haven't got enough time. Starting to find my flow, and I've built some really good momentum with training and work. Stress levels are close to peaking, but without pressure, diamonds aren't made. I won't have it any other way. This year is my year, so you're either with me or you're getting left behind.
I like that. It's very honest. I feel like you're definitely in the feels.
Yeah, so I actually did like recently, after breaking up with my ex, or her breaking up with me, I just thought, I need a fresh start on Instagram, and one, because I just couldn't archive my old posts, and like they were like the cringy modeling ones I had.
Nice.
So now it's kind of like a bit more professional photos, or like photos where I look decent. And ever since then, I've just like brought out more. I've been posting stories for me. I don't care what people think. I've been putting a bit more of my personality, and whenever I'd put like a poll up on my other account, like I'd be pretty dead, but like now it's like people seem to be interacting with my stories a bit more, even though it's just my personal one. Like even like as simple as like I put a poll up saying, excuse the mess in my room, but in front of the radiator, do I put a clothes rail, do I put a bean bag? And I got like 21 votes, which is like, it's not much, but like compared to my previous account, I barely get any. So like I feel like because I'm just being unapologetically myself, people latch on a bit more.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so excited to see kind of the journey unfold. I think that's the exciting part.
It's going to turn some heads.
Exactly. But at the same time, I would say look after yourself, because I feel like, I know you're willing to sacrifice your mental health, but
I kind of cancel it out with the gym in a way.
Yeah, I feel like don't cancel out your mental health. Not cancel out. Don't sacrifice your mental health.
Yeah.
Find a balance. That would be.
I'll find out at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you very much, Leandro, for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Nice. Yes. And thank you very much for listening, guys. Episode 4 in the bag.